Welcome to the Hurrian Network, where we're connecting people through networking. And to continue off from the last video, we set up Telnet and we broke down as to Telnet being unsecure, and anybody that has some sort of network analyzer such as like Wireshark is able to capture the information, be able to get the information and exploit your network, and you don't want that, right? Which is why for today's video we're going to continue off and we're going to set up secure shell, SSH, because SSH, as we know, is encrypted and will be secure, and when they extract information through SSH, since it's encrypted, they're not going to be able to get the information that's going on between your computer, let's say, to the switch, when you want to basically remotely connect to the switch, to manage it, to configure it, to check it, all that kind of good stuff, right? So let's get into it. So we're going to remotely connect with this laptop, and we already done that with Telnet before on the last video, and we could just clarify that again, right? And let's see right here. Alright, so there are some steps that are involved in this. Let's just look over to our running config to see what we have up to point right now, up to date. And we can see right here, service password encryption we did. We added a host name, which is actually a key step for SSH, by the way. We have an enable secret, no IP domain lookup. These are the basic configurations we went through, right? Nothing's configured on the interfaces yet. We do have a switch virtual interface right here, which is the management IP address. This is how we're able to get into this switch using Telnet, right? And then we have the line VTY set up for Telnet as well too. And we have the banner message of the day. We have the console line configured to console in using a rollover cable, right? So now some other things we have to set up is a username. So for our username, admin, and we're gonna give a privilege level of 15, which means that when we log in, we'll go straight into the privilege exec mode. We don't have to do an enable secret for us. And then we can give a secret for this username of admin and specify that, right? Okay. Now if we check our running config, we should have that right here. There's a user admin with the secret. It's what we needed. Okay. And then what else we're going to have to do is give a domain name for SSH, by the way. So IP domain name is the command for that. And for the domain name, we're going to just say that. That's fine. We can save the configuration. And another thing we have to do is we have to generate RSA keys. It's for encryption. So it's crypto key. We do generate RSA general keys, and then modulus, and the size. Well, the size, we're going to make it 2048 bits. Okay, we'll say okay, and now we see this message right here saying that SSH-5 enabled, SSH 1.99 has been enabled. What that means is that we can use SSH version 1 and version 2 if you see 1.99. So that's been taken care of, right? Now another thing we have to do is we have to go into line VTY and for the login, we have to set up login local because we made a username and a password. And then we can check the running configuration. And let's see. So we have our username that we added, right? We have our domain name. Okay. And then we saw the message that we set up the SSH using the crypto key, right? And login local. So I think we actually covered everything we needed. And let's find out if that's the case, because we can test it out, right? Now, to do SSH, we'll do this. -L, I believe, is to use for username, so you can specify that right here, admin, and then you can specify the IP address. So, see, it's asking me for my password. Let's try this again. There we go. And it went straight into privilege exec. It didn't go into user mode and then privilege exec, which I had to do enable for. You see, because I gave it a privilege of 15, it bypassed it for the admin account. So I don't have to do enable and type a secret for enable to get into privilege exec and then go into global config. I can go straight into global config, as you can see. But there's a problem still with this. And what's the problem is this, alright? Now, if we exit again, we have SSH configured. That's great, right? But this is going to be our problem right now. Okay, so our problem is that we're still able to get in with Telnet. So what we want to do is we want to actually not allow Telnet and only allow SSH. So what we're going to do here is, if we check the show running config, we're going to go into the line VTY, okay? So if we do line VTY 0 to 15, and then we can see right here, the command we're going to use is transport, okay? Transport input, so coming into this switch, right? Into the line VTY, the terminal lines, right? And we're just going to say SSH only. So what that's going to do is say only allow SSH, okay? Now, if we exit, it should not allow Telnet. You see, it's closed. We cannot go in with Telnet, which is great. But now let's try SSH and see what happens. Okay. Oh, pardon me. See, I made a mistake right here. I wrote username. Let's check this now. There we go. And then let's try that again. There you have it. And then We can say show run, and we can see the update. So just to give that recap about what we did to get this point, we added our username, admin, with a secret. We added an IP domain name right here, right? We also generated the crypto key, which you're not going to see in the show running config, by the way, but just to keep that in mind. And then we also did login local right here, and we specified transport input SSH, so it only allows SSH. And that's all it takes to set up and configure SSH and replace Telnet. And now we can securely remotely connect to this switch. And that's all for today's video. And until the next one, take care. But before I leave, I just want to say, for anybody that's been watching and supporting, I appreciate it. Comment, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Share it for anybody that's into IT or just wants to learn about IT, that wants to start with some networking fundamentals and understand these things. Let them check out my videos, and hopefully they can get something out of it. So until the next time, take care.